Okay, so another unboxing. This was a retail dub from Social Status, or Status if you're English. So yeah, they just turned up. They just turned up today. Social Status. Just as I open the box, I'll tell you like the experience with it. It's really odd in that like I've entered almost every like hyped pair that's kind of dropped, and God knows how long with them. You don't get. It's one of those raffles where you get nothing back unless you win. So you kind of just like drop day comes and goes, and then you assume, okay, I did clearly that's an L. So I don't really know what the process was like. I think like it's like End and maybe Sneakers and stuff are the only two, but that's not the case. But yeah, I basically just like woke up one day to see like a PayPal push notification that said, oh, you've spent, I want to say it was like 180 retail plus shipping from Social Status. Like it was like 180 total. But basically I only noticed because I had a push notification from the PayPal app. And I opened it and I was like, what's happened? Maybe it's a fraud or something. And then I saw that it was, it was basically a retail W. So yeah, this is the pair. I did actually enter again, like I touched on with the Travis Lowe. I just kind of bought these. Yeah, there you go. It was 190 including shipping and tax and everything. I kind of entered on a whim. Not really looked at this as something I massively wanted. But like the problem is in this day and age, and even if you're someone like me who is a purchaser, collector and wearer of kicks, and like about as opposite to a reseller as maybe you could get, there is a certain thing of like, I know I'm not going to hit on the pairs that I want. So I'm kind of forced to enter for everything in the vague hope that I get some of the things I want, and then I get some things of value that I didn't want, and I can use those things of value that I didn't want to get more things that I did want. It's terrible, it's awful, but like it is the game, unfortunately, that we play. So yeah, I tend to kind of just like, sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing, I just enter, and then like on the very rare occasion, once every couple of years I get a dub, I'm like, I don't even remember entering, and yeah, and then somehow I do remember. So as you can see here, Cactus Corporation. I'm going to guess roughly what these are now that I've shown that they are the Saturn Gold Nike MX1 Cactus Jack, retail 160. So I guess it meant it was 30 in taxes and shipping. Size 12 TTS. Although in Air Max 1s these days, I actually find 11.5 is my go-to. But as I said, 12, if I'm not sure, then I'd rather go 12 because it's easier to trade. So you've got this Cactus. This is really nice packaging. You've got this Cactus kind of like almost grease-proof paper. And then here we get to the kicks. That is really well put together as a set of packaging. I guess it's like minimum you come to expect these days of kicks is like some kind of special branding. So yeah, there they are. The first thing that kind of really jumps out, other than like the slightly atypical box, is that they basically have Air Max 97 lacing, which is quite interesting. In my opinion, there is another pair of shoes, which is an Air Max 1 and Air Max 97 collab, which is a million times better than this, and it's also yellow. But they are a million times nicer than this. So let me just get the box and stuff out of the way. I think one of my objections with this pair is the shape. I don't actually mind this painted air unit. I'm not really fussed with that. One thing I do hate is this, the shape of this. This looks completely fake. That looks like a giant, like a flea market rep. And I've obviously got this straight from the retailer, so like there's no questioning the authenticity. But I mean, look how jagged that edge is. And for me, I think because the tongue is so visible, that's probably, like, I was kind of half, should I keep him, should I trade him? I think that this tongue has probably made that decision for me. They gonna go. But yeah, I'll review them nevertheless. So here is the side profile. The shape isn't amazing, but it's not that bad. I actually only just realized 2 different yellows on the midsole. So you have the top half is darker and more matches the suede here. And then you have the painted, fully painted in, fully brown outsole. So you have brown spare laces. The laces that come in are speckled. They look a kind of combination of these colors here. And you have these 2 straps, and then the typical backward swoosh. I have to say the mesh for Nike standards is very good. And actually so is the suede. Like for Nike standards, this suede is actually very good. Another option, or another feature, sorry, that comes through here is on the swoosh. These are, maybe you can see from the side view here, what they look like. They're kind of like almost plastic circles, plastic loops that just adorn the whole of the swoosh. And they also all over the backward swoosh this side. So yeah, and then on the back, just to kind of come full circle, you have Cactus Jack and Nike branding. Someone told me what the silhouette is that has these straps on here, but I've completely forgotten. I don't want to get it wrong, so I won't say. Just can't remember what it was they said. So get this one out of the way. And then, as I said earlier, there's like some differences to like, I guess, a quote unquote typical Air Max 1. I'm just tucking the laces out of the way. So I'm gonna pull out probably the most famous Air Max 1 ever. And plonk it side by side. Just to show you the difference. So these are the 2017 Air Max 1 Anniversary OG in the OG red, as we call it. It's essentially university red. So this is the red, remember from the video on the Heritage, that's not the Varsity red, which is what the Chicagos and the Breads are in, but this is that slightly lighter red, which Nike uses a lot as well. And you can see like there's a fair amount of differences, and this felt, I mean, the materials in the OGs are not great, even the 2017 ones are good, but not great. This felt here, like, is completely removed on the Cactus Jack pair. It doesn't exist at all. You do have like a version, I guess, of this bit here, but it is it looks a different shape. I don't know if this piece that sticks up here actually exists under here, but it's just under this other piece of felt, who knows. But other than that, they do look kind of similar for the rest of the rest of that paneling bit here. This piece here, the same, like similar from about here onwards. So this shape is basically that shape, and it obviously wraps around the toe box. And then the toe box kind of, I guess, cavity looks kind of similar, other than you have this piece here, which is actually quite reminiscent of the Diodora N9002 toe box, but obviously isn't, but I don't know where they got that from. And then instead of continuing in the straight line all the way to the heel counter, it kind of tapers off to the midsole. And then you have this kind of circular and then straight line shape. And whatever whichever the silhouette is that I'm forgetting right now, or if I find it, I'll pop an image up here. It's most likely takes that shape. So yeah, again here you have the heel counter. You don't have that at all on the Cactus pair. Looking at the front view on, again, as I said, Air Max 97 lacing here. The tongue is completely different. This is a perforated edge. Also the build at the back, if I plonk these right here, you can see this is much thinner. This is much more padded. I usually prefer thinner than padded, but if we're talking about just these 2 shoes, then I obviously massively prefer the OG. That's not even a question. You do have Cactus Jack branding here. You can see that. And then if we compare the insides of the 2 shoes, I think, yeah, so the inside is a lot less different, I would say. As you can see here, if you ignore the N9002 piece here, like that shape here is exactly the same. You have the mesh that comes down to the midsole, looks almost identical. The mid panel, which is felt here and suede, a very nice suede here. And then you have the double heel counter on this side, which is, again, as I say, almost identical. The mesh on the Annies is pretty cheap. The mesh here looks really good. Again, I'm no mesh expert, but it looks good to me. And there's also another interesting feature here where it's like got some exposed stitching, kind of off-white-esque. And then the back, just to finish and round up, you get the kind of straightish lines here, and then a big looping circle piece here. Outsole, final comparison, pretty similar in terms of the traction and the paneling. The difference being Cactus Corporation, and then all of these, like, I think they call it Cactus print, kind of like elephant print, but I guess like it's Travis Scott's take on that. So yeah, that's the pair, that's the review. Overall, I would say my thoughts: colorway, I'm not blown away by. The build, I'm not blown away by it. The materials are very good. Very, very good indeed. I actually started out by thinking this was the weakest of the three. And as I've seen images more and more and more, I think it's actually the best of the three. That being said, whether I keep them, I'm very, very not sure, which probably means a no. But yeah, that's the review. I guess I'll see what they do value-wise and what comes out that I don't manage to pick up at retail, and I'll make a decision. So yeah, that's a review. Over and out.